Hey guys, this is Anthony back with another Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure review. This time we're looking at Onslaught. One of my favorite Build-A-Figures actually, although it does have some problems, I'll point those out, but I just love this figure. I don't know why. I don't have a particular fondness for the character, but this figure is just really cool in my opinion. He stands 9 inches tall, and of course you can make him either taller or shorter with those reverse jointed legs. You can get him relatively tall if you want to, straighten him out, or you can take him down quite a bit as well and shorten him, make him look a lot stockier. That's completely up to you, but I like to put him kind of like right in the middle just to give him a decent look. Don't want him to look like he's standing on his tippy toes all the time. The sculpt is absolutely wonderful on this. If you look, the head sculpt is just really cool. It's not the traditional Onslaught that looks more like a guy in a suit of armor. It's the more kind of like a bug, like beetle looking kind, but I still think it's really cool. The sculpt is great, the paintwork is great. The whole body's textured, kind of. It's not smooth plastic, so that's really cool. The head is articulated in there on a ball joint, and so it also has a 360. You can raise it up and down just a little bit, but that's enough for me the way it's sculpted. It's just really cool. I like that a lot. He does have the ab crunch torso articulation. We'll talk about the arm falling off in a second. It is kind of an ugly joint, but at the same time it's also kind of hidden really well at the same time, which I just said twice. But it ratchets, geez, I can't talk. It ratchets like that. So it's a really nice joint, nice range of motion, look pretty far down. And you can fold this thing down to this back part of his shell. It's got a pivot or a hinge in there, so you can kind of do with it what you need to for the articulation. The shoulder pads are also hinged, and he's got the standard ball joint in there for the shoulders, and it's just really stiff, but it has the full range of motion in there. And one thing I need to mention, I don't know if this is a common problem, but mine, the left arm comes off pretty easily, as you saw. It's not a problem enough to where I wouldn't want to get the figure, but it is something worth mentioning. He's got single jointed elbows, but you've got just over 90 degrees of movement there, so I think that's fine. We'll just leave that off for now. It does have a pivot or a swivel inside there. It's really tight though. This is one of the older ones, so he's probably going to get sticky joints a lot. Plus, it's more of a vinyl-y plastic than a hard plastic, so that tends to happen. He has a wrist rotation. Not a whole lot of movement there, but it's there. A wrist pivot, thumb pivot, little extra finger pivot, and each finger articulates individually as well. And if you'll just look, Hasbro, look at this. The arm itself is 5 inches long. It's got an elbow joint, a swivel in there, a swivel at the wrist, a wrist pivot, 4 individually articulated fingers, an individually articulated thumb, and an extra whatever finger. This thing is loaded with articulation. It's sculpted well, painted well, and it's big. Toy Biz could do it. I think Hasbro can do it too. They just need to try. So let's try to get them to do that, guys. If you're a Marvel Legends collector, let's stop trying to settle for whatever we get and try to get some more really cool figures. Let's get back to the figure and I'll stop ranting. He does not have a waist swivel because of the sculpt and everything. It just doesn't fit the character, the figure. But I'm going to let it slide this time because it's simply just a function over form. Form over function? Function over form I think fits. It just doesn't work with that sculpt, unfortunately. He's got standard hip joints, which are, I don't remember if they're a Y or a T. They're so stiff right now. I'm pretty sure it's a T joint in there. Yeah, it's almost a T. It's leaning towards a Y, but it's really close to being a T, so you should be fine with it. It works just like a T joint. The thigh swivel is right there. It's got a knee articulation and a knee pad. So it's a single jointed knee, which actually goes more than 90. It doesn't go all the way out, but it goes more than 90 this way. The knee pad has its own articulation, which is also sculpted really well. And then it has a second knee joint, which has that range of motion, almost a full 90 degrees. Well, over 90, but then it doesn't go completely straight. Then we have the foot articulation, which it's kind of like a McFarlane Halo figure where it swivels at the top of the ball joint and at the bottom of the ball joint, and then it has the similar to the shoulder articulation. So you can rotate it however you want. and you can position the feet however you want so that you can really put them in some crazy poses and get the feet to be perfectly flat, which I think is absolutely awesome. It's better than an ankle rocker. It adds articulation to the figure. It doesn't hurt the sculpt, and it helps posability, and it's just an overall great thing to consider. So, as you might have figured out by now, all of the articulation plus the sculpt and the size of this Build-A-Figure make him one of my favorites. He's a great figure. I'm holding him up right now, but he can stand on his own just fine. I just don't really feel like getting those ankles rotated right now on camera. It'll just eat up some time. There, that'll work. So as you can see, it's an absolutely gorgeous figure. Stands nice and tall. Great detail. One of my favorites by far. Giant Man's awesome, but this guy is, I think, equally awesome, if not better, in its own right, due to the sculpt. And just everything is gorgeous about this figure. I really don't have too many complaints other than the arm falling off. And I guess I probably would have liked it better if it was the standard version of our Onslaught, but that's not really a complaint. So, as you can see, it's a gorgeous figure. I recommend 100% if you don't have it, go get it. It's not one of the more expensive Build-A-Figures, so I definitely have no problem telling you guys to go buy it if you don't have it. It's absolutely wonderful. So guys, thanks for watching. Hope this was informative. Stay tuned. I got 2 more Build-A-Figure reviews coming up, and in the meantime, keep collecting.